Straw Hats versus the Seraphim. Hello, One Piece enthusiasts. I'm the One Piece nerd, and today let's talk about some unexpected matchups. The Straw Hats are facing off against the Seraphims with probably the help of Rob Lucci and Kaku. Well, not the point really. Point is the matchups. That's what I'm sort of curious about. Like, okay, I understand there's a traitor. I understand everything's going wrong. But something I never really expected, especially after Mr. Morge made his theory, and I started to sort of line up with it, saying that the Seraphim will battle off against the Straw Hats when they go to like Im-sama and when they like take orders from him. Like, that made sense to me. Final War opponents. When Vegapunk basically stated that they're the strongest creatures ever made, and I feel like, yeah, okay, if that's gonna be the case, they would probably be the final boss of the end of the story. Because they literally are the strongest scientific creations. Well, seeing them now caught me off guard, but I think we've got a few matchups to talk about. Now, before we move on, make sure to like and subscribe. It helps the channel a lot. Now that you have, let's begin. Well, two of them are very not specific. Like, we don't even know when they're gonna show up, if they're gonna show up, or versus whom they'll fight. But as for the rest, let's just talk about it. The first being Luffy versus Asbury is sort of like an obvious because, of course, Zoro's facing off against S-Hawk. I'm gonna start with Luffy first. Well, this battle is basically a reflection of what happened at Sabaody, and this time around Luffy's just stronger, and well, Asbury isn't really Kuma, so no more slacking this time around. It's gonna be full-on shockwaves, pop-off fruit power. Well, especially after that team-up effect, if they're actually teaming up, which sort of makes sense, like guessing their hype. Like, okay, Blackbeard, it didn't take much for him to take care of S-Hawk, but Blackbeard's Blackbeard. Luffy's still not on Blackbeard level, I'd like to say so myself. And, well, okay, if they're taking help, I'm saying they're probably gonna take the help, because I don't think Oda would just bring up something about an alliance and then not let it happen. This has never happened before. So if he's made a point, if he went his way to say that Rabuchi and Kaku will join Luffy and Zoro to fight against the Seraphim, I would say, okay, yeah, sure. How will the fight go? I would say Luffy Gear 5 versus Asbury is an easy win. Like, I really don't think it will be a challenge unless we see some powers that we have yet to see from the Seraphim as of now. Well, with that being said, even with the unexpected power, you expect Luffy, of all people, to beat them, because he's Luffy. He's Gear 5, Sun God Nika. Okay, no, he's not invincible. What I'm saying is, he's the main character. If we're facing off against Seraphim, now I really doubt it'll be fun to see Luffy struggle against a bunch of demo creations of Vegapunk. Granted, they are the strongest, but if they're not final villain opponents, final boss opponents, why bother? But, oh well. So, Zoro versus Mihawk. I like to say for this matchup specifically, it's a real test for Zoro. So, of course, S-Hawk is not as strong as Mihawk is, but it's sort of like a pseudo fight. Maybe granted within the time skip when Zoro was training with Mihawk, he's definitely had sparring battle, but this is dead on serious match. So this time, I would think Zoro would take it seriously and actually use everything he's learned up until now to beat S-Hawk. If that doesn't happen, and if that gets beaten easily, I will understand, but I'd like to see a fight. I'd like to see a full-on proper fight with this, if it is actually gonna happen. Well, and as for what it could say if he takes help from Kaku, I would say it's gonna be a little sad. But granted, look, the reason why I'm saying they will take up the alliance, although Luffy's and Zoro's reaction were quite hilarious in the chapter, the reason they would take it up is because they're in a hurry, they're in a rush, they know something's about to come, the world government or the Marines will be sending battleships, maybe an admiral will be here, so obviously they would want to do things quickly, and the best way to do things quickly is to beat the opponents quicker, and taking help from people that not necessarily are allies. They probably wouldn't care, I guess. They really don't have much of an ego. So I would say they'll team up. It won't be a fair matchup fight with Zoro versus S-Hawk like I like to see, but it's something. It'll probably show what Zoro is actually capable of. Moving on. We know that S-Snake is with Usopp and Frankie, and S-Snake attacked, I think it was... Okay, I forgot the name as well this time around. I'm so sorry. But S-Snake is near Usopp and Frankie. This matchup feels a little weird. If it was versus Nami or Robin, that would have made more sense. But this way around, Usopp and Lust, I guess it kinda goes together. He does have it. I'd like to see Frankie versus Boa Hancock, like demo Boa Hancock. Like, does Frankie have Lust? Is he into, like, you know, traditional stuff? Does he, you know, I don't want to say stuff, but I'd really want to see if he'd be able to withstand the Meramero no Mi. So this fight is about to be interesting unless someone interferes. I wanted Nami or Robin to go up against S-Snake. If that's not happening, Frankie versus S-Snake, I can't complain. I would want to see something. This would be very interesting. I don't really think Oda would put up a matchup where, you know, someone would be beaten up easily. Like, I would say in terms of Nami and Robin, even if they're, like, jealous of Boa, that also apparently affects... That is also affected, like, you know, you still get affected by the Meramero no Mi. So, for Frankie, I would say is very interesting. We've never really delved into what Frankie is into. This will shed some light. As for Usopp, I'm not really sure how much he could do in this battle, but I guess we will see something. Moving on, I don't have much to say about this, honestly, but you guys say what you want to say. Next one, also very interesting. S-Shark versus Jinbei. Copycat matchups. We've already seen what S-Shark can do. Probably not the entire scope, but we've seen something. And for S-Shark using the swim fruit and then Jinbei not having water by his side, this will sort of be like, you know, legit full-on maybe 100% Jinbei versus Jinbei the Fishman Karate guy. Unless, like, you know, Jinbei has Haki. I don't like to say that the SERAPHIM has Haki. They might just. I think Mihawk, S-Hawk did display Haki. I'm not really sure as to say, you know, what to say about that. But, I mean, it'll be a tough matchup. This will definitely be a tough matchup. It's one of those matchups where it's like the copycat or the doppelgangster has a bonus effect and the original thing doesn't. In terms of Jinbei, now it's water. I'd like to see how Jinbei fares against himself without the benefit of, like, you know, having water around him, where he's actually, you know, enhancing his fighting skills. Not saying that he's bad in land, because he beat Who's Who and whatever. So this will be very interesting to see. I would like to see Jinbei pull off some insane tricks that we probably didn't see in Wano. That would be good to see. You know, first serious fight as a Straw Hat. Well, no, technically, second serious fight as Straw Hat. Moving on. Sanji versus S Flamingo. Now, we haven't seen S Flamingo as of now. I'd like to say he's there. If we've seen... How many did we see? We've seen 4 thus far. We have yet to see 3 of them, one of them being S Flamingo. We have yet to see that, but the only reason I'm pairing it up against Sanji is because, remember, we had a Dressrosa matchup of Doflamingo versus Sanji, and Sanji basically couldn't do anything. Now with the Germa power-ups and everything, and more enhanced Haki and his, you know, extended skills, whatever, him taking down Queen, I'd like to believe now he's probably on par with Doflamingo. And no, this is not a full-fledged Doflamingo who could probably use Awakenings. So I would say it gives him another round of shot. Not technically, but it's a way. It's something, man. I really cannot say anything. But I like to see these happen. And I would like to see Sanji come on top and not that hard. Like, obviously everyone's gonna win, but it's about how they win and how easily they're winning. That's what matters to me. So Sanji, if he has a mid difficulty fight, I would be satisfied. I wouldn't be pissed. But if it's a high difficulty fight, maybe you're pushing boundaries. If Ace of Flamingo isn't there to begin with, that's another entire story for another day. And the next two, which I have no idea if they're ever gonna show up. I have no idea who they're gonna fight against. But I mean, they're supposed to be there. S Crocodile and S Bat. Like, what do you call Moria? Bat was his power. I mean, technically, Shadow was his power. I don't know how you could put an animal in this. Maybe Moria wasn't made. Maybe Moria was that useless to the point where Vegapunk didn't feel the need to make another one. So imagine that happening. And well, speaking of, Moria is the only... Gecko is what? I don't know what Gecko is. Anyways, Gecko Moria is the only warlord of the sea of the original 7 that doesn't have an animal attribute to him. Goes to show. He's just, outside the pack. But if he's there, who is he gonna fight against? I have no goddamn idea. Like, realistically, I don't see anyone fighting him. You guys come up with stuff to say. If he's there to begin with, I mean, Luffy's already occupied. I don't want to see that again. Chopper, maybe Chopper? Not really sure. Anyone else? I'd like to see Chopper fight, honestly. Chopper had his time with Queen, but didn't get what he needed. With Moria being probably the most useless warlord ever, I would like to see Chopper have a fight with him, and Chopper actually goes to show his worth. And this time, the government really cannot ignore his bounty. Like, this time, seriously. The last one being Crocodile. Sir Crocodile, our favorite warlord. At least my favorite warlord. Well, we haven't seen Crocodile yet. And again, good question. Who is Crocodile gonna match with? I would probably say Robin because former boss. And then now we're going here. I mean, it's an interesting reunion. I would like to say that it could happen. Robin just popped out of my head. The first person to imagine myself fighting against as Crocodile is definitely Robin. I don't see anyone else doing it. Maybe Sanji, but that also doesn't make sense. Like, nothing makes sense after Jinbei, but it's something. I'd like to see Robin fight again. And Robin, with everything we've seen thus far and maybe even more, it'd be a very interesting matchup. And I would like to see what devil fruit, if there is any devil fruit that has been given to S Crocodile. Because, by the way, S Crocodile is actually Sir Crocodile abbreviated or whatever. Also very interesting. The last 3 Seraphims, I'm not really sure if they're even created. I would say so, yes. But what are their powers? What can they do? Do they have haki? And how strong are they from their original self? That is a question I'd like to ask. We have yet to see their full potential. And this time around, if the fights do get the deserving amount of time, I feel like we'll get to see everything. And yeah, it'd be a fun time. That's it for the video, honestly. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe. Let me know what you guys think about the matchups. Do we get to see the last 3 Seraphims? Do we get to see their full powers? What are their matchups? Let me know. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe. Have a great day, and peace.